Welcome to the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the podcast dedicated to the commercial food equipment repair industry. My name is Pat Finley. I'm a lead master certified technician at General Parts Group and a certified Safesta trainer. My goal is to shine a light on what I believe to be one of the most interesting and rewarding industries a field service technician can work in. I love the work I do, and I am glad you're here listening to this podcast. In today's episode, we discuss work and everything else with Dave Elliott. What's going on? We got Dave Elliott here. Instagram, he goes by Huser HVACR. He's a somewhat local guy, 2.5 hours, but we're in the same state at least. So I met Dave a couple years ago when I started this Instagram thing. I was searching HVACR guys, and he popped up, and he said Huser. And I was like, hey, you gotta follow him, fellow Indiana guy. And we've talked quite a bit the last couple of years, hung out in Vegas. So Dave's a real good guy. Always working on all different kinds of things, and I was glad to have him on here. Glad he could have me down to his house and hang out and shoot the shit. So what's going on, Dave?
Doing good. I appreciate you coming down. Appreciate you inviting me on. Always excited to do a podcast. Really excited about what you're doing with yours. The kitchen aspect is really neglected. I've been in the trade going on a little over 30 years. Time sure does fly fast. The last 18 years has pretty much been in that aspect of pretty much kitchen repair, commercial equipment, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I like about your content. You do a lot of same things I do, but you're an electrician. You do a lot of plumbing. You do a lot of HVAC. So it's cool to see. I started off life as an electrician. Took 2 years of trade school, and I came out of high school and went right into it for about 6.5 years. And then transitioned to what I'm doing now. I always liked that aspect of it. I got stuck doing track homes and apartments, and it was the same thing every single day. And my mind is not like that. It's like production work. I could never do factory. So my dad worked for a company that did what I do now, and he got me on there. And I worked there for a few years, and then I wanted to do more. I wanted to do refrigeration. They didn't want to do it, so jumped ship and made some bad decisions and ended up where I'm at now. And luckily I did, because this place treated me really good. But like I said, I always like your content because you never know what you're going to be doing. One day you're, showing a panel you're wiring, and you're roughing in a building last week. Tearing up concrete, putting in shower drains, and
it's something different every day. That's one reason I really love it. I'm kind of the same way. I don't really like to do the same thing. I like to do multiple trades. When I first got into trades, I started out with HVAC, kind of went through trade school. First thing I realized was the more you know, the more they're going to pay you. So that was, my first end game of trying to learn more.
Yeah. The thing I like the most is I had the electrical background, so I understood how electrical worked when I came to this career. And like I said, I'm like you, I get bored, so it's always something different. So the electrical aspect of it helped out a lot. So I would like that part of it. But yeah, it's always something different. I go from working on a reaching cooler in the morning, to a rooftop unit in the afternoon. At the end of the night, I make an emergency call on a grill somewhere and have to go out there, and the restaurant can't be open because the grill's down. You never know what you're going to work on. It's cool. Keeps you hopping.
Yeah, the electrical part definitely is a great starter. When people ask which one you recommend going into, the biggest thing I think is understanding how to use a voltmeter, because my way of looking at it is once you get your troubleshooting skills down, it doesn't matter what the equipment is. It's just different components.
Yeah. I'm real bad. Like, I work on a lot of different things. Like, there's things I've never seen I have to work on, and people are always like, "What do you do when there's something you don't even know how to turn it on?" I like to go up to the customer like, "Hey, what's your procedure? Turn this on. I want to see if you guys, see how you guys do this." And people are like, "That's a great little trick." I'm like, "Yeah, it saved my tail a bunch of times." But I mean, I come up to things. I'm like, "It looks like a spaceship." There's touchscreen panels on stuff now, and have no idea what I'm doing. And you get in some of these combi ovens and these grills, and you can get in there. And it tells you what's wrong with it. It tells you a code. Tells you where to go check. I mean, it pretty much diagnoses itself, but you still got to go and verify that that part is bad. But it'll lead you in the right direction. It's pretty cool how stuff is anymore. So you work for an independent owner and operator.
Yeah, I work for a franchisee that has 23 restaurants and then some commercial properties, ever growing. It's probably have 6 more stores here in the next 2 years. I already have sites for them to be built on, so spread out. I'll go from cover a 2-state area. Uh, I don't work on as much equipment as I used to. I moved into more of a little bit of a management role as far as taking care of hiring some subs and different things like that too, which is almost a bigger headache.
You calling me a headache, man?
No,
So
you're easy to deal with.
So I do some Garland Grill works, and his employer has some Garland Grills at their locations, and it's a big like rollout thing, and I've had to do some work for him, and he's called me, and I make sure it gets taken care of. So I mean, I try to do what I can. Now he has followed up some people I know, and I've had to have a talk with some of their work. It's kind of questionable, but I mean, as long as everyone's trying to be better, I don't have a problem with it. So
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. So have you always been in the trade since high school, or?
Yeah, I mean, I went right out of high school to, Ivy Tech.
Mm-hmm.
I started
Sweet.
in the fall, right, August, right out of high school, graduated, and then 2 months later, I started with a company that was local. They were called Snyder's Plumbing Heating out of Seymour, Indiana, and I was with them for 11 years. They were like family.
Sweet. Yeah, Ivy Tech. I've been in some Ivy Tech. We go in there and we have a little presentation where we kind of explain what our side of the trade is. So we'll go into the HVAC program. Yeah, I've done it in like Kokomo, Muncie. I go in there and I have a little slideshow, and I go in there and talk about what we do and explain, our side of it. Because like you said earlier, we're kind of like, no one realizes we exist.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not beating up on all their trades. I mean, I say this all the time. Like, you get these electricians and these plumbers, HVAC guys in, and they got huge followings. And I'm like, man, I do all that stuff, and I'm kind of jealous. I mean, I'm not mad at them. I'm like, man, I do all this stuff too. So, I try, but like, I just want what we do to get out there a little bit better. I mean, because there's a lot of money to be made in this, and there's a lot of guys that I think could do really well at this, and it's just trying to get the name and what we exactly do out there. I stumbled into it just because my father done it.
Yeah.
So I had a pretty easy, flow into it. So it worked out pretty easy for me. But Ivy Tech, we're actually doing a program for cooking equipment. It's like a 1-semester program. We're sourcing equipment right now. I think there's 5 locations we're going to do it in. We're sourcing equipment now. I think we're going to have the lecture done for a spring semester as far as like what the class is going to consist of. So it's pretty much just we're getting in basic equipment. It's like a basic millivolt fryer, which is Danny pilot gas fryer, maybe electric, convection oven, some hot wells, and I think they may try to do something else. But just to get a basic, hey, this is what it is, what the parts are, here's how to troubleshoot basic stuff. And like you said earlier, once you have the basics down, it pretty much all just goes from there as far as what you can do. So, but I'm anxious to see what's going to be. They're like, well, do you want to teach it? I'm like, no, I don't want to teach it. I got enough stuff going on. I'm like, I'll help ride it, and I'll work with the instructors on how to teach it. But I just can't. I don't have any time. But I guess it's going to be a 1-semester program, and then we're going to send some of our green guys to it, and then we're going to send. I think we're going to just help sponsor it and see how it goes. So I think it's a trial.
Got a couple guys I'd send to it also.
I think it's a trial on 5 or 6 locations. I think Sellersburg may be one, a little further south of here. I know Indianapolis. Kokomo has a really nice campus. Their HVAC program there is pretty huge. They actually have a walk-in cooler and have like 3 or 4 systems mounted to it. So I'm anxious to see where it goes. It's just different.
Yeah. And too, hopefully, with Instagram, we attract more people. Because I'll be honest with you, I looked at some of the programs at Ivy Tech trying to get my guys into, and a lot of the seats aren't full. A lot of the classes are not, they're just canceling them. Just to start out on the basic classes, like I'm pretty sure it was going to something like Kokomo.
Yeah, that would surprise me.
I mean, in Indianapolis, which used to be a big hub, Columbus is the one I went to for all my stuff. And they hardly, I think, between Bloomington, Indy, and Columbus, they had like maybe 5 classes offered like the whole semester.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. I mean, it was the same way. Like one of the classes I went to there was literally, we were closer towards the end. They still had like a few weeks left, and there was like 3 or 4 kids. I was like 3 or 4 kids. I mean, adults, but there was 3 or 4 there. So I don't know if they said COVID. I mean, I don't know. It's hard telling what exactly the problem is or what it is. I mean, there's a huge skills push right now as far as skilled trades. So hopefully it ramps back up. I know some of these programs have had bad names in the past, and I mean, I don't know. I don't have experience or anything. I didn't do it. I didn't go there. Like I said, I went to a vocational school for electrical, and I loved it. I had a blast. I'd go half a day to that in the morning, and I'd go to my regular classes in the afternoon. Now, I did a lot of things I probably shouldn't have been doing as a high school student. We would be in a classroom changing 277-volt ballasts live when they're having class. We'd be in there on the scaffolding or ladder changing ballasts. I remember blowing up strippers and clientsmen, my clients' linesman pliers and stuff. I'm like, and people in the class are freaking out. I'm like, why am I in here doing this when these people are in here? Our teacher pretty much let us have free reign. I mean, I learned well that way, but some people had no right to do it. But it's always something. So
yeah.
So, what do you have any tips or anything for anybody getting in a trade? Just find a job or go through trade school?
Well, honestly, if you have interest, I mean, I think back whenever I got out of high school, I didn't know anything about heating and cooling. I had no family that was in it. The only thing I knew about it was when the guy, the local, where I grew up, come and fix our oil furnace, and I watched him like a hawk.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a little bit of interest there. Why I'm segueing into that is there is so much information now. There's good and bad, but school is definitely a great. If you have the time and the money to go to night school, but there is so much information online now that if you had interest in becoming HVAC, electrical, plumbing, I mean, you could be 6 steps ahead by just spending a couple hours at night learning.
Yeah, if you can get into a trade school, try to get that evening ones. I mean, a lot of these companies will sponsor guys to go to these trade schools now because it helps them out. Does help them learn stuff. So if you go, you get to a trade school, a lot of times companies will come there looking for guys, green guys that they want to bring on and work with. So trade school is the way to go. We're hiring, and I mean, we've tried guys that had experience never show back up. We've had guys say they're going to hire, drug tests, come in and refuse to fill out paperwork. Don't come in and do paperwork. It's definitely a trying time right now. I bring it up with my son. Literally applied and had an interview last week, and I don't know how I feel about working with my son. I mean, I don't mind working with him, but it's my son. It's more of a fatherly thing. He thinks a lot like me. He's got ADHD brain, so he kind of bounces all over the place. So I think he'll do all right. It's just I've never really seen him working with his hands much. He bought a truck and he's been working on it, and I go and I supervise. I make him do it. He was pushing real hard down with the ratchet. He had his fist clenched on it. He was pushing down. He was by the concrete. And I was like, hey, you might want to open your hand. And, I got it. I know what I'm doing. Bam! It slipped and drove his hand right to the ground. I thought he broke his hand for sure. And I was like, yeah, remember when I said you might want to keep your hand open? I was like, that's why. So he'll learn. I'm kind of anxious to have him with me. That's what I told him because I do most of the training. I'm like, hey, you're going to have to ride with me for 6 months. I said, you think you can handle that? I was like, I'm kind of bad to work with. I expect things. I said, I'm working on that as far as training people, but it's going to be definitely an adventure. So,
well, the great thing is he's seen the hours that you put in. When you get home at night, what it's like. I mean, it's being in the trades. I mean, definitely there's some jobs that are structured, 7 to 5, 7 to 4. What we do. I mean, that phone could ring anytime and be like, well, we're going to have to wrap this up pretty quick. Gotta go.
I'm on call right now, so I know all too well.
So, I mean, he's seen that part, which is good. Some of the younger generation, some of them are fine working 4 days a week. It's good that he has an interest.
Yeah. He was trying to be a linesman, but he was going through the city and it was just taking too long, and he just kind of gave up on it. His mom probably didn't want to be a linesman anyways. He knows the money's good there, but it's a lot of danger. I mean, there's danger in what we do too. So me and you both do restaurant equipment. So it's a lot different than like comfort heating in a house or something or a business. So if say you got a store and I walk in the freezer's down, we got to go. It doesn't matter what we're doing, where it's at. We have to go because they have thousands of dollars of product in there. They lose that product. They're out the money for the product. They have to close and everything else. So a lot of times people do just HVAC. You don't realize, I mean, they got to go. They get the on-call thing, but we get a call at midnight. Hey, my walk-in freezer's down, and it's at 40. Well, your walk-in freezer's been down for 2 or 3 days, and you're just now calling. So it's a little different as far as the on-call stuff of us goes for that.
Yeah, the restaurant. I mean, it's pretty much kind of like if you did rack refrigeration.
Mhm.
I did that for a while for some stores, and they call. You better drop what you're like a fireman.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're going.
Yeah, I had permission, but I drove my van here. I got a full uniform in the van, boots are in the van. It's Sundays. Sundays are generally a little more quiet, but if someone calls, you got to go.
Yeah.
You keep that phone on you. It's rewarding though. I mean, the money's great. But I take pleasure in, you walk into a restaurant and they're closed and they can't open up and you get, their fryer running or their oven running and they can open back up. And the managers or the owners are extremely appreciative. I mean, they'll bend over backwards to help you out. I mean, you get to places that are just absolutely rude and hateful. But I mean, you have that anywhere you go to work. So, but I enjoy the restaurants. It's always something different. I've worked in places. I've worked in food trucks in an alley. I've worked in the fanciest restaurants in downtown Indy, and it's you never know what you're gonna do. So it's cool.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of crossover. A lot of rooftop units, ice machines, refrigeration. I mean it's a lot of the stuff. I do work on some residential stuff too. Like I say, he owns a lot of properties, so. It's a mix of a lot of different things, but yeah, the restaurant stuff. I mean, I enjoy it. I've done it. Just crossed over 18 years with my present employer, and it's God willing, I'll retire if that's possible someday.
Yeah. So how hard was it? So you didn't do refrigeration. I mean, you didn't do restaurants until you came here, right?
No.
So that initial shock and all, was it pretty big? Like shock coming from what you were doing before to go into you're working on a greasy fryer or something, or was it just you just did it and just it was part of the job and didn't worry about it?
Well, it's one thing I try to stress to like the guys that work with me. When I started, I didn't have Google, I didn't have YouTube. I just had what troubleshooting skills that I had, and I mean the refrigeration. I'd done some refrigeration for sure. Like before I got into the restaurant stuff, we did commercial, residential. There's a small chain of grocery stores done their racks. So I mean, I had a big, broad experience there. And then when I got into the restaurant stuff, it was like, it's fast paced. And you walk into every piece of equipment at that point, you didn't know it, but you just got to focus on your troubleshooting skills and start just like any piece of equipment.
Yeah. When I first started, like I said, I was an electrician, and it was like grease. So I was just like appalled and disgusted, and it can be overwhelming sometimes. I mean, but it's not bad. It's just if I get something's too dirty, I just tell the customer they got to clean it. I mean, you work for the owner of the company, so most of the time if it's something dirty, you can get away with, hey, I'm not touching it until you clean it type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I mean you can. I think probably where you're steering is the fryers and fryer pumps are the worst. To get behind the fryers, cardboard is your friend, and your tools are going to get nasty.
They don't rust.
You're going to come home and your wife's going to say, you worked on a fryer today. Yep.
Yeah. My van seats are destroyed. The armrest on the window is just covered in grease, and I go to the 3-bay sink and I'll grab a green scratch pad and just scrub my arms. I'm taking layers of skin off just to get the grease off, man, on some of these jobs. I won't say the name of the restaurant, but it's a really good chain. It's not fast food. Sit down, and we had to install fryers and we get there and like, yeah, the casters are broken, the old fryers. We had to use come on and strap it to the wall with a strap because it had been in place for 3 years and hadn't pulled out because the casters broke and the grease had formed at the back and it was suctioned to the wall. We just come along to break it loose. So then I get like, I start dragging it out and I get 3 of the 4 cords unplugged and the fourth one, and I can pull on it, it won't pull. It won't come off. It's covered in grease, so I can't see it. So I just get mad and I jerk on it. Boom! It was hardwired underneath all that grease, not even in a box, just hardwired on the ground. The wires coming out of the wall and just, I just jerked on it. I just ripped it out and blew it up. And I was like, holy cow. And I asked the manager, I was like, you gonna clean that up? He goes, that's not my job. I said, it's not my job either. I was like, I can push this back in place and leave, dude. And he like went in and like scraped it up and was like, that's all I'm doing. I was like, I just put it back in, I put the new one in place, did the best I could. I was like, I'm not cleaning it up. I was like, it's movable now. Your guys can clean it later on. But yeah, it's just the way people treat their stuff is like, I don't know if they just don't realize it's not theirs, so they just don't care. A lot of times it seems like some of these restaurants, but I mean, I've seen it all.
It definitely has gotten worse the COVID years has really hurt it. The restaurant business is understaffed. I know where the group that I work with, it's a struggle to get people in there, and it's so busy from morning to night that there isn't enough people to clean like they should. So I mean, it's a struggle to keep up.
Yeah, there's a lot of restaurants like the Taco Bells I go to. Most of them, they don't even have a dining room open because they don't have enough staff to open up the dining room. So it's drive through only. It's crazy. It's came to that. But I know cost of living is up higher, inflation, everything's up higher, and I just don't know how people aren't working. I don't get it. I mean, I feel bad because these people, these restaurants get yelled at because the dining room's not open or the drive-thru's super slow. I'm like, if you've seen that this restaurant in normal conditions, 6 or 7 people, and I walk in and there's 2 people working, and I'm like, it's gonna take them longer, right? And it's just better with these people. I mean, we all got a job to do, but. What's up? Looks like we got Gil in here. Reliable HVACR is watching. PE HVAC. What's going on, man?
Hey guys. How's it going?
Work is work, yeah. Bendrick was in here at one point. I don't know if he's still in here or not. Got a few guys in here.
Hey, representing PS the Plumber. Chris is getting ready to do that rigid experience next week.
Yeah, I've seen that, man. I'm excited for those guys. I keep seeing them on their little videos with their coolers and stuff. I'm like, man, this is awesome. I'm ready to see what these guys do and see their posters and stuff. Yeah. But I've started talking to PS the Plumber more. He's pretty good guy.
He is.
I did that sticker swap thing and sent some to Germany. I sent quite a few to Canada, so it's been kind of cool.
But yeah, the sticker thing is cool.
It's a money pit.
If you want to
lose a couple $100 real fast, jump in on it.
Like a bunch of 8-year-olds collecting stickers. I got mine out in the garage. Pretty proud of it. It's a couple years in the making, and
yeah, I got a bunch more. I got some to send out. There's a HVAC Chronicle. I think I'm gonna send a bunch out. He does teaching, so I was gonna send a couple stacks out so he can give his students and stuff. My work luckily helps me with some of the stuff, so I send some of their stickers out with them too. So
yeah, you send them overseas. It's $1.48 every time.
It was $1.50 or something. I sent some to Germany. I forget the name. I probably could butcher it if I tried saying it anyways. But sent quite a few to Canada. It's been fun. I've got met a lot of people with some stickers. There's a lot of people that just want to swap stickers, and like a lot of people that's their hobby, and that's cool. To see the stickers they have on their walls. One of my favorite ones, I sent one to Viking Pipe Fitter, and I'm always anxious to see how he's gonna put people's stickers up because he always does little transitions and stuff. And I thought he had me. He was going to stick it on the refrigerator. I was like, no, don't do it. And he took it and put it on his wall. So
he's got a cool job.
Yeah, he's only been on Instagram for like a year. Yeah. And he's like blown up. His TikTok's hilarious. I always get on and interact with him on there. A lot of guys are always, you're taking a skill out of the trade because you're pressing. And it's like, no, it's just another tool to get your job done better, faster, and more efficiently. But we hear the same thing. We both do the RLS stuff, and guys complain about that. I get a spy fittings, and all the old guys in there are like, an idiot. That's never going to work. That leaks. That's junk. I'm like, no, it doesn't. You try to explain it to them. They don't want to hear it. Yeah. I mean, I see it all the time. Guys with bad mouth. I'll say something about RLS. I use it somewhere, and guys just want to beat up on them. I'm like, have you done your homework on it? Have you tried it? Have you looked at it? No. You just want to beat up on it. I mean, I get it. It's newer technology, but it's actually been out for years.
Absolutely, and the whole press versus braising thing, you need both. The other thing about pressing, especially for us, if you bring a flame into a restaurant, it's just a bad situation. Tight spots, the press tool works so much easier. Up on the roof, you know, with roof, with small refrigeration, rooftop repair, uh, a little slag from after they're brazing or something. I mean, you can, it's a couple $100 repair for a roofing material if you're not careful.
Yeah, where it shines for me is I do a lot of hospital work and school work and warranty work, and like some of these places you can't braze in there. If you can, it's fire watch. I've had some places where it's 4-hour fire watch from the time you stop brazing. So the time it torches out, you still got to stay there 4 hours, and it has to be someone other than the person brazing. So it has to be when you braze, you have to have someone standing there with a fire extinguisher, and then they got to stay there 4 hours as the repair is done. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So how I utilize it is like if I have to change compressor, of course the compressors you have to braze in stubs. So I will at the shop or outside I will braze in stubs. I'll pinch them off and I'll bring them in. And I'll do the same for a filter dryer if I can't buy a filter dryer that's pipe size. And I will literally braze in my stubs, bring it in, reclaim it, cut the old one out, slide the new one in, cut my fittings, cut my pipe the length, and just press it in that way. And I'm in and out. I'm a lot faster. I'm not paying 2 guys to stand there. I'm not paying a guy just to stand there in a fire extinguisher for 4 hours. The job's done. These manufacturers aren't paying the labor for these second guys in these positions. They don't care where that equipment went. They just say, hey, we're paying this amount. So It's not fair for my company to eat that time. So we just, I press tools mine. It's not my works, but we're trying to bring a board on all the branches. But it just saves time and labor.
It does.
I don't use it for everything. And if I did installs all the time, I'd probably use it even more. But I do installs one-off as far as refrigeration goes. I don't run line sets all the time. My installs are generally swapping out the evaporator and condenser for like and reusing existing pipe. But in that case, a lot of times I'll press stuff together just because I want to use it. It's cool. Fittings are a little more, but I've only had one leak, and that was not the fitting's fault. That was clearly I was in a too tight of a spot, and I thought I had it in there, and to get that jaw in there, it just was too much, and it slid out a little bit, and it leaked. So I had to cut it out, braze an elbow in, and went about my day. So I can't blame the fitting. We see all those guys talk about it. Oh, they leak, and the RLS is a mechanical bond. There's an O-ring in there, but that's just to keep everything locked together while you're pressing it. If you were to get a cutaway, you can cut it, and you can't really see where one stops and the other starts. So it's a pretty good product. I haven't done any of the other companies, so I can't say on theirs, but I rent a press tool for drain lines in those situations. So those ply houses have press guns, and I'll rent one from them. I'll rent a 2-inch jaw, and then if I need a half or 3/4 inch, those jaws too. But it's worked out. But we will have press tools in all the shops eventually.
I actually just ordered a rigid 351.
Did you?
It's got all the mega press jaws for gas and everything. That and a sewer camera. Well, that's exciting.
It sounds like
about $9,000 for a sewer camera. But,
I enjoy watching all these trades work. I mean, even the guys, George the plumber out there, just cleaning drains and that kind of stuff. It's so cool. I always learn stuff, and not that I'll ever do anything like that, but it's just like hey, I have more respect for what these guys are doing because they're showing it, showcasing it. I have chefs all the time. Like I'll work in 5-star restaurants, and I would watch this chef plate this stuff up, and he's like, "Are you hungry or something?" I'm like, "No, man." I was like, "That's art." I was like, "That's cool." Just watching you do that, and like you start off with this, and by the time you get done, it's some elaborate plate. And I'm like, "That's freaking amazing."
Yeah.
But if you can't tell, I was offered too much food for the last 16 years, so.
That is a downfall of the restaurant equipment repair. I first got into it, I probably gained 35, 40 pounds. And, now at 50, I'm dealing with I'm off again, on again, diabetic.
Yeah, I seen your post this week. I was going to bring it up at some point.
Yeah.
About taking care of yourself. You had to do a normal checkup. And
Yeah, it sucks getting older. Just take care of yourself. get your physicals. I've done yearly physicals for I think 6 years now.
Yeah, I'm probably due for a physical. I had just an appointment a couple months ago where I had some things going on, changed doctors, and just went over some stuff. And I didn't like the medications, and it was nothing health related. It was just like mood related stuff, and I ended up just getting off all of it. I couldn't do it. It was ADHD medicine. And I was like, well, 4 years old, maybe I should, do something about this. And then I'm so used to living that way for 40 years. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like it made me weird, made me feel weird. I'm just like, I can't do it. So many side effects. It seems like I'd have the worst side effects. I tried 3 different medicines. I'd have the craziest side effects of each one had. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing it. But yeah, you got to take care of yourself. Like I said, I tell everybody, I will not lie. When I started in this business, I was like 235, 6 foot tall. I had a beer gut, had normal dad bod. And then fast forward to probably 14 years, I'm to 440, and I've done this like 100-pound up and down from 440 down 340. I was back down to 340 for AHR in Vegas, felt great, and then pretty much just said screw it since then. I'm back up like 30 pounds. I'm like working on building a home gym, working out with kids, so it's getting me motivated. And I'm starting a 30-day program tomorrow, the first, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, definitely take care of yourself. Another thing you mentioned is the doctor told you to get a hobby.
Yeah, I don't. I've got golf clubs. I don't think I play once this year. Talk about going. My biggest thing is I work Saturdays pretty much. Usually knock off around 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
Sundays are my only day really off. Try to spend as much time with my wife.
I'm over here interrupting.
We always try to do family dinner on Sundays. That's a big thing. All 3. Our youngest is 13. We got one that's getting ready to turn 20, and then my daughter that's going to have a grandbaby here in October is 27. So try to spend as much time with kids as possible. With our hours, it's just you just never know.
Yeah, I've dabbled in hobbies, and like you said, it's just you don't have a whole lot of time. And you're like me; it's not that I'm not forced to work these hours, but I want my customers to be taken care of. I want my employer to be taken care of. I form relationships with these customers, and there's a lot of them that request me only, and it's like I take pride in that. So when they're broke and they can't operate or something, I feel like a sense that I have to take care of them, and they become a part of my family. And I know I shouldn't really work the hours I work. I enjoy the money. I'm not going to lie, but I do things though. Like I try to start early as possible. So people are like, how do you have 12 hours and you're home by 5:30? Well, because I left the house at 5 o'clock this morning. If I can get in a job early, I'll get in a job earlier. So I can still get a couple extra calls in a day. But like everyone else, we're short staffed, and I got to do what I got to do. But it's not forced on me. A lot of people think that, oh, they make you work all those hours? No, I'm just an idiot that doesn't say no.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough balance. It really is.
I'm in the middle of building a big giant shop, big giant barn. I've got pretty much everything's done inside. Getting extra on the loft, and then electrical, and I'm hoping to do spray foam installation. See how that goes. I'm sure it's going to cost me like $20,000.
Our shop, I think, was like 10.
10.
Very well worth it. Like no air conditioning, obviously, in there, and it's been pretty nice, really.
Mine's a sauna. We put the gym out there, and my son, he's figured out to keep the door closed. It's still cooler in there, but you walk in there, and I'm like, I can't breathe in here. How are you doing this? I got big fans in there. I open it all up and try to move air, but I don't know if that's the right decision. Sometimes
I think if you get spray foam, I think you'll notice a difference.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys do spray foam and have really good luck with it. I've been following Mechanical of Eric Ani's shop job, and he's done his really nice. And I want to do mine like his, spray foam and the new metal on the inside on the walls and stuff. So we'll see. It's just it kind of depleted my savings to build it first. I've been wanting it for years and years and years, and I finally just said, screw it. It's not going to be any cheaper, and just pulled the trigger this year and got it in. So,
like my neighbor has just put in a pool. He's like, yeah, I got a $8,500 pool and a $30,000 deck.
Dude, my wife wanted a pool. So we've always had like some sort of pool that you get from Walmart, you take down every year.
Yeah.
And eventually we bought a real nice above ground pool, and I just call it my money pit. I don't think I've been in it twice in the last 4 years. Like I always threaten to go out there and shoot a hole in the side of it because it's just work. It's always leaking, or there's always a fitting leaking here, or there's always something stuck or something clogged, or it drives me up the wall. My wife loves it. My kids used to love it. And they go through. Sometimes they want to be in it. Sometimes they don't want to do with it. And it's just a big giant round money pit.
Yeah.
Chemicals and water.
I think we're involved in it next year. My wife has asked and pleaded. And
young grandkids, it'll be cool. It's fun with them. So. Like I said, my daughter's 21. My oldest son's he'll be 20. My youngest son he'll be 17. And occasionally, my oldest son and his girlfriend will get out there, and he's got a little dog. The daughter actually gets in the pool, and she'll bring her little nieces and nephews over, and they use it. I don't care. I don't mind it. It's just I just hate working on it, man. Like you get that cover on there, and you put the cover on there, and it's a nightmare to stretch this cover on this because if you know me, I'm bad. I don't buy the smallest or the cheapest anything. Like if I buy something, I'm just going to buy it once, cry once. So I'll spend the money, and I bought the biggest round. It's like 33 by 52, and trying to stretch this big giant cover across there for the winter is a nightmare. It falls in, and I'm yelling at the kids are crying, and it's bad. And then getting it also even worse is you clean all the leaves off and the water off. I think if I was to do it, I'd get an in-ground pool, though. That'd be the way to do it. So we've got Gil. Yeah, Gil started out doing restaurants refrigeration, and then he changed over. Yeah, I don't think he misses the restaurants because he misses working with his dad. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of excited about with my son coming on board is building some memories with him. I got to realize that he's not a normal employee, but I got to treat him like a normal employee. So it's going to be a different kind of thing. They're kind of leaving it up to me as far as how I feel about it. So we'll see.
I think it'll be a great thing. I mean, it's you always in the back of your minds would be nice to have a son following your footsteps. That I'm definitely going to be pushing my grandson. He's going to have a
tool belt,
hell of a Klein tool collection someday. So.
I don't know if it's close to yours. It will be. Every time I see the picture of that table and all those Klein tools out there, I'm like, man, this guy's got a problem.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I started buying pack outs here lately, and I'm kind of scared. Luckily, our vans are just the shells, kits. I don't have to worry about doing none of that. But I can see it building the problem in the garage pretty fast.
The pack out things are nice. I think I've got like 8 that's fittings, and then I've got the roller ones, which are out on a job right now, and then I stowed Quality HVAC's idea of putting the press tool and the jaws in that one square one. That works perfect.
Yeah, I see. I thought about getting that one and getting some Kaizen foam, making some inserts foam in there.
It works really nice. The tool fits perfectly in there.
That case weighs a freaking ton, dude.
It does.
I love my RLS tools, but I got to warn if I send someone to the truck to get it, I'm like, hey, be careful, that's heavy.
Yeah.
Because it'll fall on you in a heartbeat. Yeah. I always know when I don't have that bungee cord in, I hear it slam. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, you can just hear it come over and crash. I'm like, hopefully everything's still in there. But yeah, I have the pack out thing's pretty cool. I got one right now. I just keep all my RLS fittings in there. I want to do some for all my plumbing fittings because I've got a ton of brass fittings for doing combi installs and water filter installs. So I think it'd be a lot nicer. I have it in the Stanley box right now, and it's kind of beat up. It's pretty cheaply made.
Yeah.
Not near as rugged as that pack out, so I think it'll do a better job. But the biggest thing I wanted to pack out for was I wanted the crate. And then I got the wall mount piece, so I hang it on the back of the cage of my van. And then all my parts for jobs, I'm gonna get a divider and put it in there. I've got it up, but I want a divider to go in there. So one side will be like parts for a job, and then the other side will be parts I didn't use or warranty parts sent back. That way, I keep them organized up there. Because right now I keep them in milk crates, and then they get shoved underneath the shelves, and then I gotta move stuff to try to drag them out and get to them. So I think if I just mount it up there, it's that back cage would be easier to get to. It'll be a little cleaner look, and then I can find something else to shove under those shelves instead of those milk crates. I struggle with bottle like the nitrogen bottles, like where to store those. I got them in milk crates. I always try doing to buy me the special bottle carriers, but that never works.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I just get scared of those because nitrogen tanks, I've had one fall over, and I'm bad about leaving my regulator rig on there. It falls over and breaks, and then everyone always screams about the guys that keep their settling rigs in the back door, like right inside the back door, because that's where I keep mine at. Like, what if you get hit in the back? I'm like, man, that's a pretty heavy tank. If I get hit, if I get hit enough to tear that tank up, it's what it is at that point.
Yeah, I mean, mine's in the back door on the right side, and then I've got 4 nitrogen bottles and a V tank on the left.
Yeah. I keep my nitrogen bottles. I got 4 nitrogen bottles, and I have 1 backup set of oxygen acetylene, and they're in milk crates, and they're just strapped to the bottom of my right hand side. So it's my van's a mess right now. It's I'm bad when I get busy. I don't clean it. I just on to the next job, so I kind of throw shit in there, and then one day I'll get mad and I'll just rip everything out and go through and clean it. You probably keep yours pretty clean, though.
It's kind of a mess right now. It's Monday morning. Usually I try to have like on a Friday or a Monday time to go through. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully I have time. But then you bring up the whole van thing. I mean, I've got a normal transit shelf package. And with the pack outs, I mean, I've seen so many ideas on Instagram that, to utilize. Because my problem is I have a big Craftsman toolbox on top of a box that has a reclaimer, vacuum pump, and everything. And then it's just loaded front to back with pack outs. You're walking around them. It's just not a good situation.
Yeah, I've seen some guys where we have a guy, I won't say the branch, but he took out his shelving package and he put in the pack out wall stuff and just hangs everything on there. It looks sweet.
Yeah.
But I was like, I hope we don't get in trouble for doing that. I mean, but I think if these companies would figure out that if you buy these pack outs and these wall kits, you're cheaper off in the long run doing this, because then you can just move those to the next van. Hey, here's a day, you got to spend a day fitting this, taking your pack out stuff out, mounting the new stuff to the wall, and going from there. I think, a lot of these companies would probably be better off doing it that way. My problem is I just have so much big parts that won't fit in the pack out, so I still got to have shelves of some sort in there.
Well, and that's the thing. I hear it every time I take my van in. You're way overweight. It's not like we just do HVAC. Like, I've got parts for restaurant equipment, HVAC. I've got like 17 or 18 motors on my truck.
Yeah.
Where I go, it's not like you can just go to the supply house and get what you need. So, it's crazy overloaded, crazy parts amounts.
Yeah, I always get the customers, all the parts to fix that? I'm like, I could drive a semi and not have the parts to fix everything I work on. I was like, unfortunately, no. So our company tries to do programs where we're dedicated tech. So I'm a dedicated tech for Alto-Shaam. So I do all the Alto-Shaam warranty calls I have to do, which they make combi ovens, cooking holes. They make some pretty cool stuff. But so I get to do those. And then there's a guy that does the rationales, and then there's a guy that does the pit codes. And we try to, our top manufacturers for warranty, we have a dedicated tech. But a lot of times I'll go out there and I don't have a part. The restaurant stuff's weird because you can't just find that stuff locally.
Yeah.
It's all proprietary stuff, and you have to order from manufacturer, and then there's huge liability things. We're a warranty rep for just about everybody, so we cannot use an aftermarket part. It's just part of the process, and so we have to get the parts from the manufacturer, and it's a huge headache. I mean, you probably can get away a little better than me because you're one strand of restaurants. You can keep a lot of the major parts to get your guys going.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, you can get by with some different contactors or stuff, but a lot of the equipment you still have to use the OEM parts.
Well, I don't mean as far as aftermarket. I mean you guys all use the same fryers pretty much. So you keep the same part that works on your fryer, so you can do pretty well with that as far as downtime.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is we use a lot of penny.
Yep.
Well, the fryers, excuse me, the COVID cough. I'll keep the main parts that I see that go bad. But I mean, they're still, if you're a Henny Penny service provider, I mean, it's a huge cardboard box of parts that you're supposed to have, and likelihood of anybody carrying that's slim. There's only so much room.
Well, see, my branch doesn't do Henny Penny warranty, but the branch down south does, and the branch down north, we don't in Indianapolis. One of our other people do it. One of our other service companies in the area does it. So I don't do a whole lot of Henny Penny worked when I used to work for that company. I mean, I'd always be in the Marsh or Village Springs. When I first started, that was huge in my areas. Grocery stores and those convenience stores now had the pressure fryers, the lids. You had to change the lid springs, and I got pretty good at them. And it was fun. It was different. But now I couldn't even remember how to change a lid spring. It's been so long. But I mean, occasionally they're rolling out a PM program, I guess, for Breakers, which owns the chain of restaurants. But they for the Henny Pennies, they want PMs done on them, and I haven't seen the program yet. But I probably wanted to do it because we don't do warranty work. You probably want off stuff. I think it's for the RVs and stuff like that. So is your guys' equipment mostly your fryers, everything pretty much electric, or?
Yeah, it's almost all total electric. Pretty much around this area, most of the chain is electric. I've worked on some gas equipment. I like recovery a little faster, but I think the electric is a little cleaner.
Yeah.
There's opens up a lot more room. The only downfall you work with every day is trying to fit in those small places to get the pilots and igniters and I mean it's.
I've got big, massive hands, and I always say I'd like to have like tattoos on my arms, but as you can see, they're just like destroyed scabs and burns, and I can't do it. I think it would be cool to have until they get burnt. You can't see what it is anymore, anything along those lines. So I'm notorious for jamming my hands in places I shouldn't do it. I like the challenge, so I try to fix it, but a lot of times I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's cool. Yeah. Henny Pennies, they're pretty cool. You guys have a selector valve in for the auto top off and stuff like that. Yeah. I've messed with a couple of those. I've done a few filter pumps, not in a whole lot, but like I said, I used to cut my teeth on the pressure fryers, and then McDonald's, what I did a lot of. They got a lot of Henny Penny now. Their Henny Penny Fry Master, I think, the two they use. So, how's this new girls working out? Just a couple
stores? Like on my part, no news is good news.
Same here.
I mean, that's
tell them to chill out on the water when they clean it.
Yeah.
Especially those GFIs, man. Those things are pretty. Yeah. They're pretty touchy. They're not even it's a GFI, but it's not even a breaker, so I don't know what it does. I mean, those boxes are huge for that big grill. I think up on the wall.
I mean, it pretty much just makes it work just like a regular GFI, in which. I've had my issues with GFIs over the year. Holding cabinets. They want to clean. They spray the element down. Trips GFI every time. You really, people trying to do a good deed sometimes makes a lot of work.
Well, a lot of the stuff we work with has that high tip wire, and it's not rubber, and it's not plastic coated, so it's got that fiberglass coating on there. And if any kind of moisture whatsoever touches it, it's going to leach out the ground. It's crazy, that wire. I mean, it's not enough to trip a breaker, but with these GFI breakers, it's enough to trip those. I've had a lot of these new stores where I go in and the equipment sat in a container outside for months while they're building the store, or it sat in a warehouse somewhere and it wasn't very well controlled. And as soon as you turn them on, boot trips GFIs. And you got to go through, and I won't say what you got to do to dry them out, but it's pretty sketchy. But I've had you pull the tops off, and you got to do some other stuff, and you get them to come on, and then you can literally just watch steam come out of them. It's crazy. But I mean, as long as the managers aren't going, I told her, I said, use a damp cloth, wring it out, just make sure there's no dripping water, and you'll be all right. That's the problem. If they get in a hurry and they're just trying to clean it, and they were doing the right thing. I mean, the grill looked great. Grill was spotless. That was the cleanest grill I've ever seen. It was only a few days old, but it was really clean still. And I could tell I was like, hey, was she cleaning? Yeah, she was cleaning. I was like, oh, man. I was like, well, here we go.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, it's just, that's the code now. They got GFIs, and it's going to be a problem. There used to be a GFI receptacle that we would recommend using, like combi ovens, because they have frequency drives in there, and they trip real easy. The gas ones would. Frequency drive sends a signal back, and it just, something about that GFI trips them all the time. So there used to be one that was rated at like such a high rating, you get away with it, it wouldn't trip, but it pretty much wasn't a GFI anymore. And they quit, like the NEC or whoever writes National Electric Code figured it out and like got them to like quit making that GFI. But it was sweet because you'd have problems with these big combi ovens, that frequency drive. There's something about it. It just freaks it out and trips them all the time. And it's just, you go there and it wouldn't do it. Occasionally, every once in a while, just do it. But
Yeah, that setup he's talking about is a change out from a Taylor grill to a Garland, and the Taylor grill electric hookup actually fed through a cook center into the bottom, which was covered. Uh, Now they've changed the electrical to where it's hanging from the ceiling, so that's the big deal for the GFI.
Is that what it is? If it's a plug, it has to be a GFI?
Yeah, that way hanging from the ceiling like that.
I wonder how it was, but that's made to be pulled out clean.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are against the wall are still plugged in, so they probably have GFI too then.
Yeah.
He said they couldn't get the breakers. I was like, man, I've seen some 3-phase GFI breakers because some of these Chick-fil-A's have them because they're all electric. And that's the one I normally have problems with because they'll order all the equipment. They don't sit in a container outside if it's out there over the winter, it just collects moisture. But they're pretty, as soon as they start heating up and that steam comes off, it's just every single time.
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know if the one in Elwood has those GFIs or not up above the ceiling. They're hid.
Well, the new code didn't take effect until I think January 1st this year, and that was actually open before, so they might have gotten away with it. Because it opened before the new code took effect, I think. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of because I don't remember seeing them. But I mean, you think they'd want to be in an area where they could see them?
Yeah.
They could mount over that big giant water line that sticks this far out from the wall. Pick on the plumbers.
Yeah.
So, where can everybody find you at online?
Who's your HVACR? I'm on Instagram, TikTok. If you haven't seen my bicycle TikTok, get on there and watch it.
That's great. That's funny.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook under just my number one name, Dave Elliott. Don't really do a whole lot else on LinkedIn, but I've been really big on that.
Yeah, I'm on there. I can't keep that one kind of tame.
Yeah.
I've got trouble for some Instagram posts I've had to take down, and that's just because I announce who I work for, so I kind of got to behave. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, they support everything I do. I was kind of questionable posting it anyways. I had that in the back of my mind. I was like, oh, we'll see what happens. And I was told, hey, you might want to take that down. And I reluctantly did because that thing was blowing up huge. And I was like, oh, I'm getting so much attention from this. Don't make me do it. But it is what it is. So if anybody has any questions or anything, let me know. I think we pretty much bored everybody. We had Gil in here, Gregory Bowles, Reliable HVACR. He's got some great content out there. He's the newest member of the press gang too. See if he got some RLS goodies.
Yeah, RLS is hard to beat. He really is.
Yeah, I look forward to
work with.
Yeah, I look forward to going out there. I'm supposed to go to St. Louis this week unless something changes with work, but hoping to go out there and tour the new facility and go see Paul and Jessica and everybody. I would like to walk the floor, see how they make fittings and stuff, and go from there. They've been a blessing, man. I just lucked into working with them. Right place, right time. I was on that HVAC Know-It-All app when Gary first launched that and was pretty active on there and just started talking about some stuff and ran into Paul and one day led to another.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that company. I'm also a big fan of Sarwell, Lance.
Oh, Lance.
We're still going to need to braise, so your products are great.
Yeah, if I could find them at Duncan Supply, I'd be a lot happier. But
yeah.
Johnstone, I don't really care for Johnstone. We never had it out. Just when it used to be, so we had an account at one, and I went to the other store, and it was owned by someone else, and they refused to sell to me. Like they were being rude about it, and I was like, at that point, it's like I'm not done with Johnstone anymore. And that was years ago. And I talked to some people, and they said that's not the case anymore, and I should be able to go back in there. But I just haven't done it. I stick to my Duncan Supply, United Refrigeration. But speaking of those guys, neither one of those companies answered their after-hours call for me yesterday in Terre Haute. I was kind of pissed off.
Yeah, that's...
So I had to do the old green belt from Rural King trick. Mm-hmm. It's working, but I was hoping to get a sheave and replace the sheave because that sheave's trash. But you don't always get lucky, so sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I think we bored everybody. Let's scroll through.
All off, huh?
Yeah. Scroll through and see if we got any questions. I really wasn't paying attention very well. I'm a terrible person. Terrible host. I'm not seeing anything.
My biggest thing when I go and do lives is like I can't see well enough. I need riggers. They're not too far away. So
I wear glasses because I'm blind. I took it took the blue stuff to the face.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was dumb. It's probably 11 years ago. I was cleaning a V-coil. I was spraying, didn't have nothing on, spraying on the new side, and then wind shifted and it blew it right back in my eyes. I literally laid on the roof with a hose in my eyes, crying for like 30 minutes. I thought I was blind.
Wow.
And ever since then, like every year, my eyes get worse and worse and worse every year. I imagine I've done some permanent damage. I just hope it stops eventually. But
yeah,
I was 39 years old and had to get bifocals, so I wasn't thrilled about that. But I mean, that's just goes back to taking care of yourself, PPE, that kind of stuff. We all get in a hurry, but it's more important to come home and see your family the other day than it is to shorten the job by 5 or 10 minutes.
It sure is. It sure is. We do a lot of sketchy stuff on ladders. Where all my places, I don't have scuttle holes or anything, so it's all up on a ladder. So.
Yeah, that store in Elwood, they did the really cool ladder thing. That thing's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's got the little access and the gate, so I don't have to. You hook your ladder. It's got a gate, so I don't have to wear we're big into fall protection now, so if you're working with somebody through the roof, you got to wear the harness. There, you don't have to because you got the parapet wall and the gate, so you're free to go. So you guys do some pretty cool stuff as far as that goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, no OSHA violations on our commercial side.
So they're nice. I'm a fat guy, so they buy me the big heavy ladder. The problem is that big heavy ladder is heavy as hell. It's rough. But we had a guy. He set up like a 16-foot or a 14-foot A-frame ladder in a restaurant that was open, serving. Climbed to the very top, stood on the very top, and started to work on something. And there's a lady down there, and she told me to get down. He said, "No, you had to fix this unit." She said, "No, get down." She was an OSHA officer, and we got fined. He did it right in front of an OSHA officer. I was like, "Why would you do that? And why would you do it when there are people in the restaurant?"
Yeah. Wow.
So I mean, it just goes back to work safe, guys. Work smart. I mean, if you got to get a lift, you got to get a lift. If your boss tells you no, I mean, just do what's safe for you. They're not going to tell you no. If they do,
even on the residential side, be watching. We got hit. There's the residential side now to OSHA.
Is there?
Yeah, and they just random pull up on job sites.
That's
just
nuts.
like the other ones do.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
There's Aiden Kid AVs in here. What's going on, man? When's class start back up for you? I don't know if he's still in here or not.
I don't know. Probably now. It's crazy how the kids go to school in early August.
Yeah, my son starts back next. He's got another full week. He goes back to 10th, I think. Yeah. But there's kids that started last week. I was seeing first day of school closed. I'm like, holy cow.
My daughter starts Wednesday. I do believe, yeah.
Is she in middle school?
The 8th grade.
8th grade? Yeah. Yeah, he's our last one. He'll be junior this year. He's been saying for years he wants to do what I do. So hopefully, once my other one gets through and he gets a couple of years in, he can follow in. He's more mechanically inclined. He's always interested in how stuff comes apart. So I think he'll be good. So it'll be weird if we have 3 techs at the same branch, the last name Finley.
Yeah,
taking over the place. So
hopefully, I hope to see that. That'd be good.
But I look forward to seeing a lot of the younger guys in the trades, and I look forward to going out to these trade schools. We're trying to work a program, like I said, with Ivy Tech. I want to do like a promotional video that we can just send out to like all the area schools. So in Indiana, there's like area schools or like vocational schools now. So like career centers, they have area that's in the designation of number, and it's just the area it's in. And they have some are high school classes and some are like adult classes, and some are ran by universities. It's kind of weird. So there's one in Anderson that I went to, but it was actually ran by Anderson Community Schools back then. But now it's ran by, I'm not sure if it was ran by Ivy Tech or what, but they've got some programs in there. But I want to do a promotional video of what we do, just send it out there. I mean, we can't get to all these places, but if we can get a video out there that says, hey, this is what we do, this is what we offer, this is some of the cool stuff we see, I think it'll go a long ways.
Well, the biggest thing with the trades, I mean, I hope, any younger person would give it a look, whether you want to do electric, HVAC, plumbing, regular construction. The thing about the restaurant stuff, I mean, it's, if you say, well, I kind of got an interest in all of those, you're a perfect candidate to move over and, the restaurant stuff, you're never going to get laid off.
No.
I mean, there's never enough hours in the day to finish everything.
When COVID hit, we let go like half our staff because we didn't know what was going on. And one was retired and just worked in the office a couple days a week, and a couple needed to go anyway, so we let go half the staff. And they're like, okay, we can't work more than 30 hours a week because they were just trying to maintain cash flow for the business as well because they were seeing it as technical side and the business side. So they're trying to maintain cash flow. So they said this policy, hey, 30 hours a week. Well, for the first 2 months, I was working more than before. I was working like 60 plus hours. So the other guys were like, 30 hours. I'm going home. Not me. I'm like, the work's here. Here. Eventually, someone caught on. They're like, he can't do that anymore. So they tried capping me at like 40. Well, I'd have 40 in by like Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible person. Like most of the times, I'll be into overtime Wednesday night, Thursday morning, pretty much, and I go from there. But it never slowed down, even with COVID. I mean, I had to wear a mask. It's still going into these nursing homes and hospitals. You got to wear a mask, but everywhere else doesn't really care anymore. But yeah, if you have interest in all the trades or the variety piques your interest, this is the way to go. What's up? PS the Plumber's in here.
Hey. Have fun next week at Rigid.
Yeah.
Lucky dog.
Yeah, that's those guys at Rigid are going to do it. I always hear the stories. Those guys go on podcasts and talking about stuff, and it's just amazing. I'd like to just go. I'm never going to qualify for the Rigid experience, but I'd like to just go there and check out the Rigid facility. I'd like to see how stuff's made. So
yeah,
I think Eric Oni had a video where he showed like a wrench being made, and I was like,
yeah, make your own pipe wrench. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
And when Klein, they always have their videos where they're making tools or showing how tools are made. I'm like, this shit's awesome. Yeah. Like I was a huge fan of the show back in the day, like how it's made or whatever. Yeah. And I'd watch how everything was made, and I guess that's why I fit good into what I do because I always like to know how stuff's made or how it works. So it works out.
Yeah. That's why I went to the forging facility up there in Chicago, and it's like I just wanted to grab like a half of a linesman. That you kind of feel bad. It's like they're already letting you tour, but yet can I have something?
Yeah, Paul said, "Yeah, look forward to it. I bet you are, man. Have a good time. Expect to see some content from him and all the others that went. So, who all was going? Was Paul? Was it George?
Paul, George, Viking Pipe Fitter's going.
Is he?
Yeah.
He should as much as he's
George
pressing.
Is going. Paul Alan Carlson. He's going.
There's a lot of people I need to start following him. I was kind of new to this. I don't know who to follow, and it's grown on me the last couple of years. But I enjoy seeing the plumbers. They do a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Derek, for real?
Yeah. Yep, he's Derek. Got a lot of great content.
Yeah, he's one I sent some stickers to up in Canada. Yeah. He was cool. I followed him. He got a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Anyone else, Paul? You missed? It's probably delayed lag time. Yeah, that's crazy. Those coolers are nice. Golf balls. I don't golf, but I tried golfing years ago. I said I was going to do it, and like all the other hobbies, I say I'm going to do it. And I do it like 2 or 3 times, it kind of falls off.
Yeah, it's a game where you see them on TV and they make it look so easy, but it's once you can figure out how to hit the ball, and then you got to hit it consistently.
I'd go to the driving range and break my driver. I'd hit the ground 3 times, bam, and all of a sudden my club head flies off. Yeah. Like, well, that's going to cost me $40 to fix.
I play a few times a year, and then usually by the end of the day, it's a good hobby to go drink beer for me.
A couple ladies said Brunette Plumber. Yeah, she's cool. I love her content. She's out there killing it, man. She does everything. She runs her own excavator. She's a hustler, man.
Yeah. She's getting dirty every day.
Well, I think I'm probably gonna wrap this up. I don't want to keep him any longer. It's Sunday, and he's got a family dinner. I'm interrupting. Got Heidi back here somewhere.
Yeah, she's probably
looking for me to get out of her house. But thanks for having me, and thanks for coming on. Once again, you can follow him at Huger HVACR, Dave Elliott. A lot of great content. It's always a variety. He does more variety than me. Like I said, I miss the days working in those panels. I follow a lot of electricians now and seeing those panels, and they're nice and tidy and a million zip ties. And
yeah, here lately, I'm back in the land of Romex, and it's been a long time since I've been running Romex. So
I'll run into it on a commercial job, like in a restaurant. So I'm like, how are they running Romex and get away with this?
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing that.
I'm like, that's not cool. Yeah, I used to burn through some Romex in my day.
Yeah.
We did a lot of apartments, and it was you did one apartment a day minimum in 8 hours. If you did more than one, good. If you don't get it done, you're staying until it's done type shit. All right, everybody. Well, I need a drink. I'm over here coughing and gagging. So thanks for everything, Dave.
All right. Thank you.
Have
me on.
Have a good day and take care, everybody. See you guys.
See you guys.